Hello everyone and welcome back to another edition of the Lewa Show. I'm so fortunate to have these lovely people join me today. How are you?
Good.
Great. Wonderful.
You're not too nervous, are you? You're all right there, Conrad?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. I'll get you to introduce yourselves.
Okay. Hi everyone, my name is Paiwa Baldwin and I am a founding member of Four Wheel in Papua New Guinea, and I'm also a aspiring social media influencer for four-wheel driving in our beautiful country.
Nice. Hi everyone, my name is Ja. I'm the executive director for Verge, based in Papua New Guinea in Port Moresby, and I was born and raised in Port Moresby, and yeah, this is home for us at the moment, and so honored to be here with Lewa and our co-guests.
Hi, my name is Conrad Vrettas, currently marketing manager at Cara Jewelers. It's a family business and I'm third generation in the country looking after it at the moment.
Did you say third generation?
I am third generation.
How often do you hear that, honestly?
Yeah, not as often as it used to happen, I think. But there's a few people around that are several generations of families in PNG, which is nice. I think it's a one. Like I'm second generation, if you will.
Yep.
My daughter will be third.
Third.
So yeah.
Beautiful. If you don't mind, we're gonna, because this has just caught my attention right now. It's right here on the table. Tell us a bit about what you've got here.
Well, I bring in a few different things we work with at the shop, and of course in PNG we don't work with traditional mediums. We use all sorts of different things, including the kina shells, black and yellow. Also, obviously, pig's tusk, which is used in many parts of the country here. We also have deer antler, which is also found locally, and also crocodile tooth, which we can also get carved in CPIC areas.
That's a crocodile.
Yeah,
Oh my
it's a large one. Yeah,
That's enormous.
The big one that you're holding?
yeah. This is a special crocodile tooth.
wow,
It's
it's
quite an old one.
Yeah, right.
This is actually from my personal collection. This is not for sale.
Oh wow.
He stresses this
Yeah.
is not sale.
And it's actually got a carving on it. If you look at it,
Yeah, it's beautiful.
it shows village life. It's got two women. One's looking after the child, and the other lady's cooking the chicken for dinner. So it's been carved with a little storyboard from the village. Yeah.
Not cooking the crocodile?
No. Well, this most likely was from CPIC area, and obviously in the CPIC they worship the crocodiles. So this crocodile most likely lived to a very old age. And that's why it's such a large tooth. But now it's quite hard to find teeth like this. Generally now they're about this size.
Oh, yes.
So this is another example of what we make. You know, we cap any sort of tooth or bone with gold or silver. We can turn them into pendants, bracelets, anything you want really. Earrings, you know.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I could definitely use one of those.
You'd never lose it.
I mean, we work with other mediums as well, like gold and silver, obviously found in the country. Black coral, you know.
That's black coral.
Black coral, yeah. That's been polished slightly.
Yeah, I was going to say, that looks really
It's
shiny.
like a wood. If you look down here on the grain, it's actually got rings on it, like a tree. That's why we can work with it, just like we work with wood, file and sand.
I've seen black coral because our family business growing up was a diving business.
Yes.
So Mum actually used to come to Cara Jewel a lot.
Yeah.
And you know, we'd see it and she'd show us some of the pieces, and then Dad would say, "Oh, do you actually want to see black coral?" So I finally got the opportunity to see it, and yeah, I was just blown away by the refinement that's involved when it comes up. And, you know, the polishing.
When
and
it comes
everything.
up, it's obviously got a lot of caltrate on it.
Yeah.
And there's a tip. Actually, one of the fishermen told me sometimes they just hang it behind the boat, and they let the salt water in the ocean strip the coral.
Yeah.
So by the time they get back to shore, most of it's come off. Yeah. But this has obviously been polished up a little bit.
Yeah, you didn't even know that.
I've also bring some gold nuggets from Highlands area. These are natural gold nuggets, as they're actually found in the ground. And we also
That's like
untouched. I've put a little bit of acid on them just to clean out all the dirt and other impurities. But yeah, so we make these also into earrings or pendants, whatever people want. They look quite nice because they've got a natural beauty about them. No two look the same. Yeah,
So that's how they look, sorry.
that's how they look.
that's
Yeah,
right.
in the rivers. Have a look, guys. You can feel the weight of them as well. They're quite weighty.
I love.
Were you leaving now, Paiwa?
What gold?
Did you count how many pieces you gave?
Yeah, I'm a bit worried, John. Like, we need to. You can pass those on.
Audit. Yeah, exactly.
I'll give it back to you.
I love the color of PNG gold. It's always
nice.
been
The
much
The
more.
nuggets are around a 20 to 22 carat purity. They're never
Yeah.
pure. They always have other things in them, but generally
So
they're
this type of gold would be, you know, is this alluvial gold coming from rivers? This
yes,
type of?
rivers
Yeah, okay.
mainly. Yeah.
Beautiful.
You know
That
quite
is-
a lot by the sounds of what you're talking about.
Just like that.
There is
Using
a
all
lot
these
of,
technical
there is a lot
terms.
of gold in PNG. We're very blessed here. There's a lot of natural resources in the ground. That's one of the reasons why this country is so rich, amongst others in the Pacific.
Yes. Brings me to my next question, guys. If I could
Thanks,
just put
Paiwa.
this down. I'm
like,
just a bit
you might
worried.
wanna
I'm just,
count
yeah. Did you? Yeah, okay.
There was 5 there.
So you've just touched on the natural resources, how it's very rare to find this anywhere else in the world, and how you've incorporated the culture of Papua New Guinea really into the jewelry. How do you then promote, I think we'll start with you, Ja. How do you promote Papua New Guinea positively in your field of digital marketing?
Yeah, that's a great question. One of the things that we are passionate about at Verge is that, and I think a lot of people can sort of understand this, I guess this assumption, is that in Papua New Guinea, whenever you Google PNG or Papua New Guinea or Port Moresby specifically, a lot of the negative stigmas come up. And so one of the things that we really are passionate about at Verge is collaborating and finding clients where they're not just selling a product, they're not just selling a service, but really understanding their value add to their clients or their market, and helping to find stories that are relevant and positive for PNG and contributing to positive content generally in Papua New Guinea. Because I think, unfortunately, a lot of the stuff that gets the attention is the negative. And for those of us who have been here long enough, and for many who have visited Papua New Guinea, when you speak to people who have actually made the effort to come in country and have a niche experience, whether it's with four-wheel driving or tourism or like experiencing different parts of PNG, when they get to know the people, when they get to know the various cultures, because it's so diverse, people realize, oh wow, it's nothing like what they thought it would be based on what they were researching online. So our space is digital, our space is also in the design space, and so our work we try to find those synergies where we can kind of push positive content about Papua New Guinea online specifically. Yeah.
We'll hold that thought online. I'll come back to you, Paiwa, because you've done a lot online. I have researched. You are watching the Lewa Show. We'll be right back. Hello, welcome back to the Lewa Show. Shout out to our host venue for today, Gateway Hotel, part of the Coral Sea Hotels 2019 Miss Pacific Islands pageant home as well. And we were just talking about how to positively bring light to our country globally. Now, Paiwa, you've done a bit of that recently. I think he's tapped into a whole new niche.
Yeah, I suppose you call it
Yeah.
that, or a potential new product for
Okay,
tourism.
yeah, product.
You're a pioneer. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Papua New Guinea is pretty known for a lot of pioneers coming here. I mean, you look at the great Errol Flynn. I don't know if anyone's heard of him, but Errol Flynn was,
Let's read up.
yeah, if you do the history on Errol Flynn, but he was one of the most famous Hollywood actors, and his early childhood years was here in PNG.
I didn't realize
Wow.
that.
Yeah,
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well,
So
there you go.
Yeah,
I
and
know the
apparent-
name. I never realized he had any connection to it.
Yeah, very strong connection.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah. So look, I mean, we all know, and Ja, you're on the forefront of it. Is we live in this, and we're from this beautiful, exotic, diverse country, and the whole world wants to come here, you know, and it's not, we're not talking about, it's a very specific type of travel and experience here.
Yeah, it's very niche.
It's very niche. So I suppose getting back to your question, how we promote, Four Wheel in Papua New Guinea promotes PNG positively, is we take something, you know, that's basically, it's an everyday, you know, it's an everyday sort of item in both the city areas and rural areas, which is a vehicle, right? But because of the challenges around roads and, you know, the accessibility in and out of areas, and, you know, you talk about 80% still of the population living out in the semi-rural to remote rural areas. Four-wheel drives are a necessity here. They're a way of life. They're a provider of services where roads can't get, you know, medicines, school books, families, food, etc. You know, four-wheel drive vehicle has always been there. And you look at the history.
Yes.
Before it was four-wheel drive vehicles, it was actually horses, right? Or it was people walking. So, you know, and how we promote PNG positively is we took that and started off with a group of guys. There's 7 or 8 of us in the core group, all from different walks of life. You know, we have a lawyer, we have a, you know, we have mechanics, we have business owners in our group, and we decided we enjoy four-wheel driving and we'd make videos out of it. And then one video started, and then the next led to
digital
another.
marketing.
And we didn't realize it hadn't been done before. And then once we found out, then we got more enthusiastic about it. And then, you know, people watch it, and then they start engaging, commenting, you know, sharing it. And it went viral. So
obviously Facebook has helped it spread, hasn't it? Yeah.
Absolutely. So Facebook was basically the platform that helped us at the time. And, you know, we now have 25,000 followers at the moment, and it's growing. And the great thing about our followers is they're all enthusiastic, not just about four-wheel driving, but they're enthusiastic about our country and how beautiful it is. Right. So we've basically used that, and we've shown people a different angle on adventure in Papua New Guinea.
Because there isn't a lot of adventure sport here as well.
Oh yeah, and like just, I guess from what you're talking about, and just reflecting in terms of our space as well, I feel like it's important to see and highlight these initiatives where we start to shift the narrative about Papua New Guinea. I think there's a narrative that exists in many people's minds out there, and there's a lot more going on in the country, and there's a lot of you know, there's a lot of individuals and organizations and you know, groups of people getting together doing really interesting, cool stuff, you know, and it's really important, I think, that all of these things start to create a shift in that narrative about Papua New Guinea, because it is a beautiful country with beautiful people, a diversity of culture, an untouched, pristine environment that many people around the world seek. You know, they seek this sort of thing.
I think when you go out of the city too, you see the real Papua New Guinea.
Absolutely, yes.
You actually get to experience the real PNG.
Absolutely.
It's the nail on the head, Conrad, and I'll tell you why. It's not just about the beauty, and we've had many guests from all walks of life, you know, and we're in touch with very prominent four-wheel drive personalities as well, and that's another opportunity that's opened up. But everyone we take out, and you know, and it just amazes me that they don't know that basically the paradise, the beauty is just outside Moresby, like a 10-minute, 15-minute drive east or west, you know, northeast, and even out to, you know, what's the island called? Fisherman's Island, you know, like. But it's not only that, the beauty, but it's the communities and the people.
The people,
Absolutely.
yes.
You know, and they get to experience that, and they finally get to have face-to-face conversations with the people that actually live in the real PNG, and 90% of the time, 99% of the time, it's positive.
Yeah,
it is absolutely positive, and they're engaging, and you know, and you know, that's what really drives us actually, is to take people out. I mean, even if they're not with us physically, but showcase to people that, you know, hey, yeah, we're going out having a four-wheel drive adventure. We're doing this track that hasn't been done for 5, 6, 7 years. Yeah, and
that's a real
I'll get
four-wheel
to that.
drive experience.
So we've done tracks like that, but then, you know, they see the beauty of the place, and then they see the beauty of the people, and try and engage.
Are these like roads going out to isolated villages? Is that where you're going on? Like,
So,
that have basically just become walking tracks over the years, or
So some of the trips we've done where we'd go. Okay, example is myself. We did an expedition last year to basically the Abo expedition, and Lewa knows about that. And that was basically down. That was a 4 or 5 day trip down down the Arama coastline, the Abo district, and that's where Mum's from. And growing up, I'd only been as far as this one particular town, which was called Newtown, or I think it's Moraguina. Yeah, Moraguina Station.
But can I just interrupt?
Yeah.
That was normal for us,
Yeah.
right? It wasn't an adventure. It was we have to get to our village.
Part of-
But people would look at that, and did you find that they were just like,
Absolutely.
"Oh my goodness,"
So- What
What is this?
what was a normal trip for? Yeah, what was a normal trip for Lewa and I, and a lot of Papua New Guineans, right?
Yeah.
Is I'm going home for the weekend, or I've got to fly up to Leh, and then I've got to get up to my
Right, yeah.
or the Highlands, and
Yeah.
it's
The Highlands
everywhere
Highway.
in PNG. It's
Yeah.
instantly relatable to every Papua New Guinean.
Yeah.
And what seems like a really hardcore four-wheel drive was just us trying to get home, right? So this particular trip, we went,
sad.
yeah. So this particular trip, we went down, and I wanted to go further, and I had a gentleman guy, one of the core members by the name of Anthony Ollie, and that guy, I mean,
What a
just research him.
legend.
He's a legend.
Oh.
His family is actually they've got a very strong four-wheel drive heritage themselves. His mum and dad, and you've got to get him on the show one time and talk
I
about
do,
that.
yes.
So we decided to try and get as far down.
Mental note.
Yeah. So we decided to try and get down as far as we could, and basically past the point of where I had been the furthest part.
Oh, you went beyond there.
Yeah. So we went all the way down to what the locals around there called it Last Corner. Okay. And
I just
so-
imagined like the end of the just.
Yeah. So we're basically driving down the muggy highway. They call it the muggy highway, but it's it's red clay, slick, river crossings, everything. Yeah, highway.
Highway. Mudway.
Yeah, and then trying to get down to this place called Last Corner. And when we got there, the only thing that stopped us to get to the very final point was just a creek crossing, and we couldn't get across. It was just physically impossible. But we had our GPS and everything like that. And, company name On Track helped us with that. So they came on board and they supported us for that trip.
Yeah, that's another.
Yeah, and there's another avenue there. So, but
I
when-
better stop. Our
when-
producer's probably going mental
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah, when we looked at the GPS, we were like 200. We were only 200k away from Alatau.
Oh,
Right?
wow.
So that there is like we drive on a main highway, and then all of a sudden we end up in this remote track, and we're only 200 kilometers from Alatau. So, it's those types of adventures that are just
That is an adventure.
they're normal, So
Well, hold that thought, because we've got more to discuss, and I just want to keep talking. But anyway, we probably should fill our cups up with coffee this time. You're watching the Lewa Show. We'll be right back. Hello everyone, you're watching the Lewa Show, and we're actually talking about promoting Papua New Guinea positively, globally. We just touched on four-wheel driving and how you went to the
end of the year.
end of the...
And let's just get it on record. that
Yeah.
He,
Oh gosh.
go on. Say
No,
on
say
record.
it.
You're
We gotta
like-
say it.
He's invited everyone here for a drive out. So stay tuned for that one.
I'll be
Insert
driving.
clip here.
I'll be driving. You guys can walk. Done. Be more than happy to have you.
That'll be a cool one to do.
We'll have to do that. All right, Conrad, you're not escaping this one.
Okay.
How does Cara Jewelers promote Papua New Guinea positively?
Well, PNG's always had a long history of artism in tattooing, also in carving in wood and bone, other mediums like that. So we've basically taken that creativity and applied it to modern materials used overseas, like gold and silver. But those materials are found in the country as well. So we've really just modernized the techniques from ancient times to new materials. That's all. The creativity's always been there. And PNG artists have a lot of creativity. I mean, look at this sterling silver bird of paradise, for example. You know, this is handmade by one of my jewelers. And this sort of level of work overseas, you just couldn't get. Like, you'd have to commission someone to do it, and you'd have to pay a lot of money.
Right.
So there's and generally we find in PNG that PNG artists want to work on something from their country because it's something that makes them passionate, and also it obviously links to their childhood and their traditions here. So that's why we're so successful in producing PNG items in PNG out of more expensive materials such as gold and silver. And even at Kara, we've always promoted, even my grandfather when he started, he wanted the local people to make the highest quality jewelry possible in the country. That was always his goal. He bring in jewelers to train them here, and you'll find that most of the jewelers around the country have actually trained with my grandfather at one stage, or at our business. So yeah, we always promote PNG in a positive way, because you can see the level of skill involved to produce this. And even other jewelers around the world, and people message me all the time saying, wow, we love your stuff. Because our stuff obviously isn't architectural, it's more natural, but it has its own style in itself, you know?
Fantastic. So we've talked about all the positive things, and of course, with that and growth, there's got to be some challenges. Ja, come to you now, put you on the spot.
Challenges, frame it for me. Challenges in what way? Like,
what are the challenges that you've faced? You're in an industry, digital marketing, that is emerging, you know, where it's new to Papua New Guinea.
yeah.
So what are some of the challenges that you've faced, and how do you combat them?
That's a good question. I think, so for Verge, we have a twofold focus. One is design, one is digital marketing. And on the digital marketing front, as you said, it's certainly it's still very much in its infancy here in Papua New Guinea. And I think one of the key challenges is essentially the business market, not the current business market, is people who are sort of influential decision makers, understanding the potential and the impact and the importance of their digital footprint here. So, you know, when we first started about almost 4 years ago, and when we were doing our market research, we had a chat with CEOs, managing directors, directors of marketing, etc., just to kind of get a feel for what is their opinion about, you know, having a digital presence. Are they doing it? Do they think it's important? All these sorts of things. And it was really interesting back then to see how, you know, there was a recognition that yes, it's important, but the market at the moment is all very traditional marketing. So it's kind of like, oh, you know, it's not really the thing. So we, you know, for us, we really felt like, well, actually everywhere else in the world, the trend is the opposite way, where exponentially traditional marketing is plummeting, and exponentially on the reverse, digital marketing and ad spend and management and doing it professionally is on the upscale. And we're not talking about, you know, small money, we're talking about huge amounts of investment where it's taking those directions. So it's interesting to me now where, you know, if I'm in a room and talking with certain leadership of businesses and organizations, it's interesting to see or observe the reaction when it comes to various age groups. So if I'm talking to guys or people who are decision makers, you know, let's say in their 40s or so, they instantly get it. They get it and they see the impact and they understand the value that a properly managed, strategically thought through presence makes. Because that's the reality.
Well,
you know, that's the kind of reality that they go through.
Yes.
Whereas if I'm dealing with, you know, like let's say 60s or late 50s, 60s sort of management, like there's like this, oh, you know, like we'll kick it down the road sort of thing. And that's okay. Like I don't think that that's a bad thing. And that's just one of the challenges that for us, a lot of our time, and a lot of my time actually, is spent educating these sorts of people to understand how this works. And that, I don't see that actually as a challenge. I see that as a necessary thing that this market is needing. And many people see PNG as a fast follower when it comes to trends, like what happens around the world. And I think people are now, you know, we only have to look at what's happened in politics, in terms of the influence that your digital presence has on your brand or your story. So these are, I think educating the market is a critical thing that we need to invest time in.
I think the mentality they have is, if it's not broke, don't fix it. You know,
Yeah,
that's the
yeah,
whole mentality.
yeah.
We've done this for years. We're making money on this. Why do we need to switch to this younger version of
From a
marketing?
business perspective, in
Yeah.
the traditional sense,
Yeah, and part of that is that people think that because it's digital, it should be, you know, it should be free or cost nothing or cost like almost nothing. And I think that works for a certain kind of profile for client. But to strategically manage things, there's a science and a method to that madness. But yeah, I think it only takes time. But we've really managed to carve out a name where a lot of our business is word of mouth amongst corporates, particularly, and middle-sized businesses. So I think it'll just grow, and as people start to cotton on that, actually we really do need to start investing more of our budget into this.
But I find these days that digital marketing is much more cost effective.
Oh yeah, I
Traditional,
mean,
like newspaper or
sure, like
value for money, or actual leads from the advert.
you can track it, you can trace it, you can target it. If you're spending tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands in traditional media, and you can't track any of that.
Yeah, so a classic example would be like, you know, work in a corporate and say, hey, did anyone see the half page or full page ad we did on this new special? Like, no. Okay, that's the first thing. And yeah, okay, well, check how many phone calls we got.
Yeah.
But then, you know, you might get 300 phone calls during that day, and how many of them were actually, so completely get that. So tracking's hard, I guess.
Not to hate on like traditional
No, of
media,
course
because
not,
I think
yeah. We
I
still
think it
need
has
it.
its place, right? I think that's an important thing to establish. But where we come from is the mentality around, you know, resourcing a digital presence. And just to give like a quick stat, like for those who spend and invest heavily in, let's say, newspaper ads, the circulation for the ads, I think, or the print runs around 30 to 40,000, for example.
30 to 40,000
Yeah,
prints. Pardon me?
yeah,
prints,
I think. And so, but if you did something on Facebook, the number of people in Papua New Guinea that are in Facebook or using it is around 900, almost a million people. And you can track it. You can track it. You can trace it. You can target your audience. You can refine it. You can have a lot more metrics around what you're doing and saying. So, I think, yeah, like I said, the education issue around people understanding what that impact is and what digital is actually going to do as far as.
And I think the benefit with digital as well is you're targeting people who want to receive the advert.
Correct.
Whereas,
Yeah, you're
whereas
right.
That's a
old
really
media,
good way to say it.
newspaper,
Yeah.
you're targeting anyone, hoping the right people sees
A
it.
lot of wastage.
Yeah, so that's the best thing about mediums like Facebook, Instagram. Those people have liked your page specifically because they're interested in your product.
Yeah.
So then you
Absolutely.
then send them info about this said product that they're interested in.
And there's,
So,
from a creative side, there's also, and I think, you know, Lewa is a great example of this. There is actually a need to be more intelligent about how you approach your content. You can no longer just sort of flash out content from a digital perspective because everyone's sort of sliding through their phone. You need to have the content that engages your target audience, and if it doesn't engage, they'll ignore it. And so I think it sort of raises the bar as far as what we think about when we're communicating to your your desired audience, and that goes for individuals to organizations to a lot of different people and places that were people and sort of institutions that want to get on to communicate their story. And I think that's relevant for Papua New Guinea too, as a country, that again, communicating our story out there in a positive light is really important.
Yes. Thank you, guys. And I have to say, ladies, gentlemen, thank you, everyone. We will continue back on the Lewa Show very shortly. Welcome back. You're watching the Lewa Show, and a shout out to our host venue today, Gateway Hotels, part of the Coral Sea Hotels. Okay, last and final question. Are you ready? Should we get a drum roll, or should we just squeeze our little
Squeeze
stresses?
that
Yeah.
Thank you. They're actually little
How
icon ratings.
cute.
I think Conrad needs it the most. He's like,
Yeah, did you want double? All right.
TPG gave us those. So
Thank you,
part of
TPG.
one of our supporters.
Look at that. Hang on. Go.
Collaboration or competition in the creative industries?
Oh, damn.
Who wants to go first?
And we're all gonna look at.
We're all looking at you.
Yeah. I think it's a new paradigm. I think that when people talk about entrepreneurship, when they talk about what it means to be innovative in this day and age, I think competition is an old school way of thinking. Collaboration is the new paradigm shift.
That's so powerful. I literally just had goosebumps. Is it just me? Like, okay.
Well, it's true. Like I think especially those who are in our generation who are running businesses, I think we can all appreciate the point really strongly and very sincerely that it's just how our generation is sort of coming up. We're used to sharing information, we're used to sharing ideas and sort of bouncing them off each other, and to really create value for our audiences or for our target clients, it makes so much more sense to collaborate and come together and bring something that's so much more bigger than what we could have done on our own.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Absolutely.
Do you agree?
I think that's true. Like even my business is an established business, but I'm always looking for new ways, someone with a new idea, a new aspect, someone that's looking at things from a different perspective. And that's really what you've got to be in this market. You've got to be on top of things, and you've got to keep bringing people new ideas, new products. You can't keep bringing people the same things over and over. People want new things, they want to be surprised, they want to be wowed. And it's very true. You only get that by collaborating with other people. Because sometimes you think you have all the skills, but it's not true. You've got to look at your positives, and there might be other people who have certain other skills that could do a certain job better than you. So you've got to accept that and allow them to take that avenue of the business for you and run it. I mean, recently we started our Instagram page, for instance, and that's actually an old school friend of mine running it at the moment. So she came to me with the idea, said, "Let's get on Instagram." I said, "Great, let's do it." So I'm always liking new ideas from friends and other people who obviously maybe aren't even in business yet, but have a concept or a thought that they want to work on and show something. Make it grow into something.
Hence the word creative, right? You got to keep evolving. Is that the same with you, Carl?
Exactly the same with Four Wheel Papua New Guinea. I mean, the collaboration is so important for us. I mean, not just in the social media sphere, but I mean, when we're, collaboration with TPA PNG is really important, and we're looking at opportunities with them. Collaboration with the local members for the areas we go to, or the constituencies and those close to the members. Collaboration with local landowners for the tracks that we might go to and places we might visit. We show them that there are opportunities that can be brought from this type of particular, niche tourism. There's so many opportunities, and then it's key for us. And then, because as well with storytelling, like what Jar just said previously, getting more stories told. And I've seen that on Instagram. There has been a noticeable surge and a noticeable uplift in Papua New Guineans who are here, not just in Moresby but around the country, who have a four-wheel drive, or their family has a four-wheel drive. They go and get a drone. They've got access to a smartphone. They've got a smartphone.
Everyone
and
has a smartphone now.
And I have seen it, and it is amazing. And it's my passion and my mission, and all of us at Four Wheel Papua New Guinea to bring them out and energize them somehow.
Well, you've sort of given the idea, haven't you? Like to show what they're doing online.
Yeah.
Whereas before they'd only be enjoying it themselves.
I think that's the important, like we talk about in Papua New Guinea, the need to build our SME base, right? And I think we have to go with the understanding that the idea that competing against each other, there's going to be elements of that, but the idea of generating something much more powerful and much more impactful than our own little selves or our own little business, by working with others that have strengths. You know, at Verge, we collaborate very closely with super talented Papua New Guinean artists and creatives and you know, photographers, videographers, to get the quality content that we need when we're developing a full package for a client. And so I think through that sort of model, it means that you're not just making money for yourself, if that was your own objective, but you're really trying to spread that weight and in a way where more people can benefit. And that's really important, I think, if we're gonna see the small business market in PNG grow. Yeah.
Well, I'm of the belief that everybody's an ambassador. Honestly, you're an ambassador wherever you are in your workplace for your country, and with the power of a smartphone and with a social media page, it works wonders.
Yeah,
honestly. So I am so thrilled to have had you guys with me today. You're all successful in your own right, and as we continue to grow the creative industries in Papua New Guinea, I think it's a very exciting space, and like you said, it's a paradigm shift, so we should all be a part of that. And as we've discovered now, it's collaboration over competition. Okay, ain't no one got time to compete. In this industry, there's space for everyone, and everyone needs to work together to grow this space.
Yeah,
so thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks, Lewa.
Thanks, Lewa.
Thanks, guys.
Absolute privilege.
Okay, before we go, where can people find you? Where can they collaborate with you? So maybe Conrad?
Well, obviously on Facebook we're Kara Jewelers, and we just have a new Instagram page now, so we're official Kara Jewelers on Instagram.
Hashtag?
Hashtag, yeah, official Kara Jewelers.
I like it.
Awesome.
I'm still learning.
For Verge, we're at Verge PNG, so VRGE-PNG. We are on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're also on Twitter, we're all on LinkedIn. So get at us on any of those platforms.
You're on everything.
Love it. She's got it all covered. Verge PNG has it covered.
We cover our bases.
They're going to launch their own social media.
No.
Paiwa?
Okay, yep, thanks, Lewa. So we're at 4, not F-O-U-R, the number 4, Wheelin, Papua New Guinea. We should be the first one that comes up in Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. And you'll find all our videos and content there. I also have my own Instagram page, and you can find me at Pies Off-Road PNG.
Fantastic. All of their tags will be down here. Go on, have a look, collaborate, time to grow this industry.
Down
This has
there.
been, click.
If we're going to the wide camera, it's down there somewhere.
This has been the Lewa Show, and we will end there by you going and clicking on their links so we can collaborate. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next time on the Lewa Show.
Thanks, guys.